Morning, folks. Caleb Booker here. I want to toss something a little different out at you today. Um, the the Noah's Ark story, the Great Flood. This is the story in the Bible where uh, God decides everybody's bad and he needs to start fresh. So he tells Noah to build a giant ark, which is another word for a big boat, and all the animals show up two by two and get on the boat, even though it's in the middle of a landmass. Starts raining and there's a giant flood, washes everybody away. And after about 40 days and 40 nights, they make land again, and this is where everything starts over. As a young Christian, when I was a boy and I heard this story, I assumed it was metaphor. I think most Christians do. But there's some interesting things that have kind of come to light lately that make me wonder if it's based on something that might have happened. So let me toss some stuff out at you. First, aliens. I know that sounds a little random, but bear with me here. So when you take a look at how long the human race has existed, how long the species has existed on the planet, we're talking about a couple million years. Something in that range. It's in the millions and it's single digits. I think it's just like a million. Scientists, chime on in. Anyway, however, the age of the universe, as we understand it at the moment, is about 13 billion years old. That's billion with a B. So humanity's a little speck in the course of time. So it's only mathematically reasonable to assume there have been many species before us. And so think about an intelligent species that has about 1 billion years of evolution ahead of us. That's only reasonable. When you think about it mathematically, it's only logical that there must be many species out there with about 1 billion years of evolution ahead of us, and all sorts of other species in between. Psychics talk about aliens eventually. I think I haven't met a psychic who didn't eventually someday have to confront aliens. It comes up, and I'll do more videos about that later. Why do I bring this up today? I've been watching a lot of stuff about space weather, just scientific stuff. I'm a nerd, what can I tell you? And I found out that there's a lot of space water. There's like clouds of water that drift through space. In fact, water in space is a pretty plentiful thing. You find water all over the place out there. And one of the things that protects us on Earth is our magnetosphere. The magnetic power of planet Earth shields us from a lot of this stuff that drifts by. So clouds of dust and water and all sorts of things. However, the magnetosphere has a cycle. In fact, right now it's weaker than it has been since recorded history. And so it's very, very weak, and a lot of things are being let in. And it's making us think that there might have been a time where the magnetosphere got so weak that one of these space water nebulas, I guess you'd call it, drifted past the Earth and ended up penetrating the shield, thus causing a flood. Now, just with our archaic science of today, we're able to track a fair amount of stuff. We're able to track the fact that our magnetosphere is getting weak. It's only reasonable to imagine that in another 50 to 100 years, we'll be able to track things like space water and space dust and get a sense of the weather out there. So, what if you're one of these species that is about 1 billion years evolved beyond humanity, and kind of checks out humanity because we're an interesting little species. It's fun to watch little bugs run around, right? It's so primitive compared to them. But they're looking, they're like, oh, you know what? That cloud is going to come in and wipe out the human race. Let's send signals down to those humans and make them build an ark. And if you're 1 billion years evolved, affecting the human brain with whatever shouldn't be a big challenge. We can already kind of do it with insects right now, with electrical impulse. So that would encourage a human to say, I hear God, and God's telling me to build an ark. in the middle of the ground. I know it sounds crazy, but I can't help myself. I've got to do this. And they would do it. I think the 2x2 thing with the animals and biology doesn't work that way. The inbred animals would be disgusting. It wouldn't ever work. But it's a fun thought, though, to think that the Noah's Ark story might be based on something that could be true, because if you think about it, it could have happened. Without spirituality, without God, just from a scientific perspective, this amazing event might be based on a true story. Food for thought, and I only share it because I find that psychics, especially, and spiritualists tend to get really stuck down into mysticism, into this notion that everything has to be related to invisible, intangible energies from beyond reality. And sometimes, in order to expand our consciousness, it's important to consider other possibilities, like maybe there's a physical explanation to everything. Keep your mind open, guys. See you next time.